Thrown 300 years into the past, Deena uncovers the dark history of her town in an attempt to save its future.
Fear Street, Part 3, 1666, is the third and final installment of the Netflix adaptation of R.L. Stine's young adult horror fiction series. Today, we'll recap and review the events of this movie, so let's check it out.
Cast back to 1666, Deena, in the perspective of Sarah Fear in the town of Union before it became Shadyside. She helps her brother Henry give birth to a brood of 7 piglets with a bloody DIY labor. We see a group of children singing a song about Pastor Miller. One of them is Constance, who's Ziggy back in the present day Shadyside. Her sister Abigail takes her by the arm and chastises her for being silly and what their mother might do if she catches her. She also meets Hannah, and they seem to share the same romantic tension here as Hannah tells Sarah she's going to visit the old woman to gather berries that night. She's the preacher's daughter, so this is very risky behavior. Mrs. Miller interrupts their moment, and Sarah makes her way out of town before bumping into Thomas. He seems unhinged and a little dangerous. He says he knows a secret about her and can see darkness in her. Sarah goes into the woods to meet Solomon, passing 2 graves outside his home to bring him one of the piglets from this morning. That night, Sarah, Lizzie, and Hannah make their way into the woods to meet the old woman and see if her berries really do grant them strange visions. They find themselves at a small wooden hut not much bigger than a tent and call out to Widow Mary. They begin searching for the berries when they see she isn't there. Sarah finds a thick book in a chest with occult symbols on the front. Going through it, she discovers page after page of spells and images of demons. As she reads, Widow Mary appears behind her and tells her not to read it. Satan lives in those books, and he can sense her from its pages. The 3 of them run and arrive at the party the village youth are holding with a handful of Mary's berries. All of them take one and hallucinate under the berry's power. Then Sarah and Hannah sneak off into the woods. They share a stolen moment of forbidden love in the dark before hearing a sound behind them and running off, scared that someone might have seen them in the village. Sarah comes to Hannah's house in the morning. Her father, the pastor, is in a strange state, whispering scripture to himself and staring off into the distance. Mrs. Miller interrupts them both and curses Sarah for corrupting her daughter and bringing darkness into their home. Then she throws her out into the village square while the villagers stare in silence. Sarah finds the food on her table has rotted. Not only that, but the flour she has just bought is full of mealworms. Henry calls her outside. Their sow has eaten all of her piglets. Sarah calls for an axe and kills the pig. Darkness has the town in its grip as the villagers draw a dead dog out of the well, discovering it is poisoned. Thomas stands preaching in the street that the devil has come for their town.
Solomon visits Sarah. He's the only one she trusts right now, as suspicions on her in the village continue to build. She's starting to buy into the villagers' taunts of her being different and born wicked. Solomon is a voice of comfort and tells her that she should feel no shame for what she's done.
A scream from the village breaks the peace as they run to the church to find smoke pouring from within. Solomon enters and finds a congregation of villagers sat with their heads hung low as Pastor Miller whispers ominously from the pulpit. Looking around, he sees everyone, including Miller, has had their eyes put out and is gathered in a bloody mess on the floor. The village gathers in the church to debate what must be done. Solomon attempts to claim the hysterical villagers who seek vengeance on the suspects without proof. Isaac reveals that he saw them both together at the party on the new moon, and soon everyone is saying that they saw the same thing and that nothing will stop their hunger for punishment. They capture Hannah and bind her while Alderman leads the search for Sarah. She hides in the shadows of the village as angry torch-bearing villagers go door to door. She sneaks into the church and finds Hannah in chains. Hannah tells her that she's to be hung tomorrow and that Sarah needs to run or she'll hang too. Sarah says she will go back to the widow and make a deal with the devil to stop the villagers. Sarah arrives at the widow's hut under the cover of darkness but finds the widow's grisly, bloody corpse. Her throat has been cut. Screaming, she runs from the hut to Solomon's home to tell her what she has seen. Caleb and a troop of villagers arrive at Solomon's home, and Sarah hides in the back as they search the home. He throws Caleb from his home while Sarah finds a way into the basement and discovers a stone altar the same shape as the symbol on the cover of the widow's book. It's lit by flame and has a severed goat's head on it. It was Solomon who summoned the devil. He's the witch. He called the darkness and sacrificed the soul of Pastor Miller so that he could finally get some good luck. He tries to appeal to Sarah, but she stabs him in the side and attempts to escape through the tunnels as he gives chase. She nearly escapes and climbs a wall, only for Solomon to pull her back down.
He shouts that he loves her, but she tries to get away, and in confusion, he slices her hand off. It gets caught against a rock and gets nastily ripped right off in a very nice gross out moment as the flesh stretches and snaps.
She kicks Solomon away and manages to escape through the tunnels back into the church. Stumbling out into the town square, Solomon appears behind her and grabs her hair, announcing that he has found the witch. Hannah and Sarah are led in chains to the hanging tree and ordered to confess. Sarah takes the accusations upon herself to save Hannah. Lying, she admits to everything and saves Hannah. Solomon slips the noose over her head and tells her that eventually the truth will come out. After she is hung, her body is left in the tree as Hannah waits behind and weeps. Back in the present day, Deena snaps out of her vision. She is back by her car and Sarah's burial site as Sheriff Nick pulls up in his car. Deena knows now that this is the ancestor of the man who betrayed Sarah and the true witch of Shadyside. He stalks Deena and her brother Josh through the forest as she explains to Josh what her vision shows her. They steal Nick's patrol car and Deena reveals that the goodies trade a soul to the devil, who takes their soul and uses them to murder, feeding on the blood while Nick gets whatever he wants. Deena and Josh come to Ziggy and tell her what they've learned, and Deena says they have to kill Nick, the mayor's son, to end the curse. They meet up with Martin, the caretaker of Shadyside Mall, and he's more than happy to help them get revenge on the sheriff.
The four of them discuss their strategy for luring and trapping the sheriff using Martin's expertise. Deena delivers a rousing speech about putting the town to the right and undoing the wrongs of the past. And a fast-paced Home Alone-style montage begins as they booby-trap and prepare the mall for their ambush.
Once their plans are in place, the mall is lit by bright, luminescent backlights. The team prepares themselves but is quickly uncovered by two cops. However, the danger is dealt with quickly as the possessed killers created by the Goodies family are drawn to the mall. They dispatch both cops, and as they stalk around the mall, the four are handily trapped behind the shop shutters. Nick finally arrives at the mall and Sam releases the trapped killers. But, unfortunately, Nick escapes into the trap they've laid for him and Deena follows. As she enters the back of the mall, flashes of the past appear.
The mall is built on the same ground as Union, and as she tracks Nick, she walks into the path of Sarah Fire all those years ago.
Sarah tracks through the dark tunnels as Nick shouts from the tunnels about the power of his family's curse. Deena is attacked by Sam but manages to appeal to the goodness within her and stop the evil forces from possessing her for long enough to escape. Meanwhile, the killers descend on her friends and time is running short. Deena puts Nick's hands on the gross, throbbing mass that grows within everybody his family has fed it, and suddenly he is overcome with visions of his family's bloody past. The ghost of Sarah appears to him and kills Nick, stabbing him through the eye, and all the killers back in the mall turn to dust. As the signs of the Goodies' curse vanish, Deena and Sam join hands and leave the caverns behind, making their way back into the mall. Only they're not in the mall, but in Nick's lavish luxury home full of goat-themed furniture, definitely a solid sign of devil worship. As the town returns to normal, Deena and Sam visit Sarah's grave and kiss like Sarah and Hannah did 300 years ago. As the credits play, images of Shadyside Mall play out as the camera tracks down into the tunnels beneath. We close in on Widow Mary's book before a pair of hands snatches it away.
The Fear Street Trilogy is a fun, popcorn Netflix series that pays homage to different generations of horror without taking itself all that seriously. It appeals to the Stranger Things generation. It combines nostalgia with modern sensibilities to create a fun series that is rarely scary but always watchable. It's a bit light on plot, but that's Netflix for you. Chances are you're tuning in simply for an entertaining way to pass a few hours, and Fear Street Part 3 does an excellent job of keeping things gentle and fun with a little bit of gore along the way. Please subscribe to our channel to be notified when we upload, and don't forget to suggest movies that you want us to recap in the comments down below.